Today I'm meeting one of my Property X members, Adam, who within 3 months of joining me this year took immediate action and purchased his first buy, refurbish, refinance project. Let's take a look around and take a look at his plans. So I'm here on this beautiful day in Portsmouth with Adam. Adam.
Justin, good to meet you.
Finally good to meet you. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. In sunny Costa del Southsea, Portsmouth, South Coast.
And you've got a very big smile on your face
because... This is the new property purchased for the portfolio. So the plan with this one is I actually bought it pre-market. So there's an estate agent local to here. I'd been to view a few other properties around the area, put in offers, so he kind of knew I was serious, but ultimately wasn't successful with those offers. And he rang me up one day and said, look, I've got this. Before it goes live, do you want to come and take a view? I said, yeah, absolutely. Came down, put the offers in. First one rejected, as it should be, because if it's accepted first time, then it's not the best offer. But the second one did get accepted.
Brilliant, and a classic example of why it's important to get out there, view, build relationships,
absolutely,
isn't it? Well, show us around, Adam. I'm keen to have a look.
Yeah, come on in. So kind of external-wise, the plan is going to freshen up all of this, new UP front door. This is kind of the worst of the condition, or it will get more worse than this, but the builders started earlier in the week, so this is only 5 days in. This is reception room 1. As you can see, there's going to be spotlights all throughout downstairs, new flooring, vinyl all on the bottom floor. All of this will be ripped out, blocked up, plastered back to brick where needs be, new radiators, really kind of freshen it, bring it to a modern standard, ready for the rental market.
Yeah, I think it's a really fine example of like you're doing it for a BRR style.
Absolutely.
Where you're still putting in nice things like the spotlights on the ground floor.
Yeah.
But you're not going over the top for like a flip finish.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly that. It's going to be plain and simple, mind the electrics. just white walls, sort of a vinyl throughout as we come into dining room / reception room 2. Storage facilities under there, again, block this up. It's kind of the same throughout all of the rooms, new radiators. Yeah, just to give it that new life. I think this property was built 1930s, and I found out from the neighbour that the gent rented it, or his family rented it, from a child. So they were the first people in the 1930s, family had it, he then rented it throughout his entire life, until unfortunately he's had to go into a home. But yeah, quite a story behind it. And we actually found in the garden, in the shed, his old, because obviously Portsmouth's a massive naval city, his old apprentice toolbox from when he worked in the shipyard.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy what you find on these old properties.
I think I feel like that's quite common round here, is people living in properties for quite a long time.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? Where that isn't always the case in other parts of the UK. So that's interesting to hear that. And when you're coming into a building like this, for anyone watching, kind of daunting if you've not done property before.
Absolutely.
With, I guess, the condition it's currently in.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
You've got to look past it, haven't you? You've got to look at kind of where it's at, find the good and the bad points when you're obviously doing your cost evaluation, breaking it down. But you've got to look at what's going to be the end picture, right? What it's going to look like when it's finished. And that's what kind of gets you excited to say, got it. And with property and development, it always gets ugly before it gets pretty.
For sure. Good. Okay. And again, this is a really nice light room. What have we got at the back here?
So through here is the kitchen. So as I was saying, the builders, we've just got a single builder because time versus money. On the previous renovation we did, it was a family property. So we kept it in the family. I said, let me project manage the whole refurb. There was pros and cons to that. I learned a lot from the process, but the property's down an hour away in Bournemouth. So family did all of the strip out ourselves, which took weeks. You know, all of these things, like we plastered it during the winter, or not ourselves, but it was plastered during the winter with no heating. So it took weeks to dry out, which is why, looking back, that renovation start to finish took 6 months. And yes, there was cost saved, but with this, we're looking at a turnaround time of 10 to 12 weeks from start to finish. And in my mindset now, I'm like, well, yes, it'll cost more, but it'll mean it'll be ready for the market earlier and more rental income.
Absolutely. And the main difference between that being the fact that you're using a build team on this versus individual trades.
Absolutely.
How did you find working with individual trades on the last one?
Stressful, difficult. They all want to blame each other for everything. When you've just got, one build team where it's sort of all in-house, you've got one contact.
Yeah.
Never any disagreements because ultimately they're a team of themselves. But yeah, that's why this time it's going to be in, build team, done, out. I think for the future, depends on the type of property. Like this is an extensive refurb.
Yep.
So something more lighter might look at individual trades, but for this, most definitely a one team job.
And further question on the build team, did you just meet with them? Did you talk with others? How did you go about finding them?
I had 3 builders come out. One came really cheap, so I was like, no, not for me. One was middle of the range, but there was a few. I'm very odd in the way that they turned up late. So immediately I was like, right, they turned up in not a professional van. And nothing against, people don't have these fancy vans, but the other one that I've gone with, obviously the quote was more expensive, but I've had recommendations. I've been to see the work they've done, and I just liked everything about them. And that's why I said, I've got the confidence in them. And when we were actually going random plans, some of the builders were like, oh, that's going to be a real issue. Whereas they were like, no, we'll get that sorted. And I was like, I like that type of energy, but it's not a problem. We'll get it sorted and we'll get it resolved.
It's exactly that. It's that mindset of we'll overcome problems versus we'll moan about problems.
Exactly.
It's spotting those like individual traits. I think what you've done there, isn't it? It's not because an element of it is professionalism, an element is gut and seeing their previous work. So you've kind of done all of that.
Yeah.
Right? This is obviously the kitchen, as you said. What's the plan in here in terms of units?
Yeah, so kitchen-wise, we've had, builders again, they're great. They've organised Ren to come out. They're going to get Howdens to come out and measure up already. There's going to be kitchen, sink. There's going to be space for the washing machine. There's not really enough room for a dishwasher in this kitchen. Boiler's going to be cupboards and fridge freezer, or space for fridge freezer will be ready there. And then kind of behind where you're standing, there's going to be all sort of corner units, the oven and the hob, extractor fan, and really just a lot of space for storage.
Yeah, again, I think it's an ideal size really, because even with the cupboards either side, you'll have a good, decent width here, won't you?
That's it.
Back of the house?
Back of the house. So, as I was mentioning, where this is 1930s, their bathroom used to be a hut in the garden.
Yeah.
So then, or as it came about, they need a bathroom in the house, which is why a lot of these in Portsmouth is an extension, a flat roof extension. So bathroom in here, you probably want to wear a mask before you catch something. Things like this, the mold, etc., would scare a lot of people away. However, you've got to find the solution to what's caused the problem. For this, the flat roof is very old, so that's going to get replaced. There's poor extraction and it's been vacant for a long time tenant. So that's what caused the problem, but ultimately it can be resolved. Configuration-wise, toilets are going to stay where it is. There'll be sink basin and kind of units there, a towel rail behind you. I'm going to go for a raised walk-in shower now with a glass screen. Tiling-wise, up to here and across this back wall, just to give it a bit of a standout effect. Grey sort of slate tiles, and it'll be just on these 2 walls here.
Any ideas on tap colours? Any final?
I'm really not too crazy about it. Just white basins, white nice toilets. Not the cheap stuff, but silver, chrome, something like that is I'm quite open to it.
Just good quality.
Just good quality, yeah.
And again, you're thinking more like long term, aren't you?
Exactly.
Rental.
Exactly.
And so no, I think this is well proportioned, given that it's a small bathroom. It's laid out perfectly to allow the shower to go there, with the window there, with the toilet there.
Yeah. So just back here in the kitchen, the idea or the style is going to be, I've forgotten the word for it. Shaker. I'd say shaker. Right.
Yeah. I thought you might get
a light green, a light blue. Kind of want to stay away from grey. It's a bit basic, but adds that little bit of flair and effect to it, just to really give it a kind of modern standard.
Yeah, I think light colour in this room will really just help.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we didn't mention before, but what did you have here?
Polystyrene ceilings. So when I came in and checked it, I was quite pleased to see the condition of the ceiling, because the previous property renovated, took the polystyrene ceilings down, and there was a huge bow, the ceiling had cracked, the joist had gone. So again, problem you identify, it's why you have contingency in your budget. That whole ceiling had to come down, and obviously replace the joist and then overboard plaster.
Yep.
Just one of those things that you come across. But this, polystyrene ceilings, I think, was quite popular as a cheap way to design, I guess. You might have seen it in many, many properties before.
Like a crazy idea, didn't
And
it?
polystyrene coving I've seen before as well.
Yeah. I've even seen it once where I went into a house like kind of similar age to this, but they'd had lights on the walls. And the lights were so close that you could see the heat had made the polystyrene melt slightly, And you think this really was a mad idea.
But you can't have that in rentals. You can't have polystyrene ceilings now, fire hazard, so it's why it's got to be removed.
Exactly, yeah. I didn't think you were going to keep it as a feature.
No, definitely not.
Adam has bought a classic 2-up, 2-down terraced cottage that would have been extended during its life to add a larger kitchen space and add a bathroom. This is the floor plan, and right now we're just heading upstairs to take a look at the bedrooms.
Bright blue wallpaper, which isn't staying. So this, and this is another reason why I like the builder, is they quickly identified that all of this is blown because there's a missing brick outside. There's some slight issues with the tiling of the roof. Again, their attitude was towards it. We'll get it sorted, we'll fix it, we'll repoint it. But this will either all come all the way down, depends how much it's blown, or just up until the point, and then be resolved and fixed. But simple, double bedroom, space for a freestanding cupboard to go there. It's simple, keep it clean, keep it neutral.
Yeah, it's a great size. Obviously, where you've put the double sockets, were they there previously, or have you made that decision?
I can't remember. I just said if we can have 3 double sockets. I think they probably analysed that a bed will probably go here, and then you've got double sockets beside the bed.
Yeah. So again, that's the difference, isn't it? Perhaps where you're PMing it, you'd have to probably get involved in a lot of decisions like that, whereas these guys will probably make fairly good decisions on your behalf. So.
Absolutely.
So talk about the damp, not just in this room, obviously, because it's one issue there. The damp was also something you mentioned to me that was flagged up during the purchase. So
when I went for bridging finance, because this is obviously cash deposit, cash refurb, cash fees, bridging the 75% of the purchase price.
Yep.
One of the lenders asked for a damp and timber report survey to be done, which identified quite a lot of damp. But when I came with the builder, and I don't think it is as extensive as they said it was, and I feel like they might over-egg it, because ultimately they said, it's going to be £8,000 just to do the injection, what's it called?
So damp-proof injections,
In reality, I don't think it's needed. And I think that's where it comes to being quite clued up and switched on, and education is key, because some people might just say, go for it, needs to be done. And it doesn't. No, I agree. I think that was a prime example, because in the end you actually switched to a different bridger who didn't put in the same questions, the same retentions, did they? I think that's like a prime example of more of a high street bridging lender who have certain tick boxes and criteria versus perhaps a more specialist lender, right? Where they take a bit more of a pragmatic view at it, and you had a much better experience with them the second time around. Yeah, absolutely. It was quick, efficient, great, and this was a recommendation, and that's the importance of having a good power team, good recommendation. I think if I remember rightly, I came and viewed it February time, early February, put the offer in, and we completed sort of 25th of March. So that's kind of from offer acceptance to completion, even with that issue of the other lender, 1.5 months to 2 months. So that's a quick turnaround. That's quick. How quick do you think that was with the new bridging lender? It would have been a month. Yeah. Yeah, it would have been, if it was from the new bridging lender from the start, it would have taken a month. Yeah. So, and also important, you haven't mentioned, is you got it in before that stamp duty deadline. Yeah, saved a few thousand, which is great. So, no, good. I think, as I said, that's a whole bit of information there that it took to kind of going through the process to learn a bit more about the bridging side. Now you're fully armed and ready to use that for future purchases, aren't you? Yeah, absolutely. And it all comes down to the first one's always going to be one of the ones you learn the most, and yourself, even as experienced investors, there's going to be new things that you come up against, but it's all experience, all learning. And I think it's the importance of sort of procrastinating, taking action, just going for it. Do the due diligence, but jump straight in and go for it, which is, I joined Property X in, was it late January? I think it was late January. Mid to late January. And here we are a few months later, all the education, the support, and first one for the portfolio, well, in the business,
Yes.
that we purchased.
I think credit to you on that, because yes, we provide the community and the support, but you were so determined. Like, I could see that when you were coming on, you're like, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to do this. I just need the information.
Yeah.
And then I'll go and do it.
Yeah.
So,
I think that was really, really key for me when I was looking for a mentor in this industry, is that someone that I resonated with on a level, someone, and you won't mind me saying this, but someone that was very down to earth, right? It wasn't a case of, look at me, I drive a whatever, Maserati, a Lamborghini, a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And I wanted still small enough community that, you know, anytime I've had a question throughout the purchase or even throughout the process, you've been there to answer any question, silly or not, within 24 hours, even less than that, within the day. And I think that, for me, I understood how a refurb was. Not an expert, but I understood how a refurb worked. Didn't know the actual, I've only ever bought residential before, so I didn't know how the process of using bridging finance and other things like that. But it's kind of that further guidance throughout the whole process, which I just valued the most.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you saying that.
No.
Of course, make me blush.
Checks in the
But no, I think it's the perfect balance then, isn't it? It's when the support is there, when you're there and you're in the right mindset to do it. I think that's when everything aligns perfectly. Out of interest, actually, I've just thought of asking this, is prior to this year, because you've entered this year with that mindset, how long do you think you were thinking about it prior to this year?
Good question. So I bought my first buy-to-let, which was a flat, when I was 18. Inherited some money, didn't know exactly what to do with it, didn't really understand stocks at this time, didn't want to leave it in a bank because I knew it'd devalue over time. And I knew bricks and mortar was a safe investment. I say safe investment, a good investment for future planning. So I bought the first property then, and I've owned ever since. I'll probably never sell it. Just actually going through the refinance process of it, because that was a all cash purchase, to then use this to purchase another, to keep growing the portfolio, you know, BRRR. And that's kind of my plans for the future, BRRR, flip, BRRR, flip, and go on and go on and go on until I've had enough for it.
To interject on that, for everyone watching, if you don't mind, why you want to add in a flip when you're doing BRRs, out of interest?
Good question. So, all-out deal or all-out money deals in Portsmouth, and there's a reason I chose Portsmouth, because it's close to home. I'm still in full-time career at the moment, so I needed something that was still accessible very quickly, so I can come down here, it takes sort of 20 minutes. But I chose to do this one as a BRRR, as that initial refurb and then rent. But yeah, all-out money deals around Portsmouth are like pink unicorns. They don't exist, because as soon as property like this comes up, they're selling for the asking price, to be honest. And I'm not quite there yet where I have the connections. I'm in the black books of developers of the, you know, that will come to you first.
Yeah. So
there'll be money left in this, around 30, 40K. So there's capital that I need to recoup. And for me, sourcing might be something of the future, but I thought, well, I've got enough capital from the refinance to look at doing a flip, get that, you know, much more quicker, build up that 30, 40, 50K profit.
Yep.
So that's what I went to view even earlier this morning as one that would be a potential flip. 1, 2, flip, and go and go and go on.
Perfect. So the flip profits replenishes your capital left in here, which is, I think, it's a really good, again, mindset to be in, because a lot of people, with what I say and what people see online, you think, oh, I can't sell anything because it's a short-term mindset. I'm going backwards. I think it's really important to go, actually, if you flip, if you replenish the capital you leave in this, that's a long-term mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't it? I think in Portsmouth, I've witnessed this, I've seen this, it's the properties are in so much demand, they're higher in value, and therefore, even when you do get a good deal like this one, you still will have to inevitably leave money in.
Absolutely.
And it might be a little bit more than some of the northern areas, South Wales, etc. But even those, you know, many people leave money in those deals as well. I think that's also something that people need to hear, is it is okay to leave a bit of money in a property.
Yeah, and I think especially at the beginning of the journey, you're never going to find the best of the best deals. That comes with experience. Obviously, it's still got a stack, and this does stack as a good deal.
Yeah.
But the ones that are the golden ticket, if you like, that they'll come with experience. The important thing for me was taking action and taking that first step, because otherwise I could have waited for that golden ticket of a property and could have been 8 months down the line and still not found it.
100%. So as you go on, as you do more viewings, you make more offers, you'll get people reaching out to you or coming back to you. So that will be a byproduct.
And just on that note, the importance of kind of social media, as we say and we share in the training, is that I've got an Instagram for the business, and I'll plug the handle here for it so everyone can follow. But I started putting out content, and content can be tricky. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. But I even had people follow it from the local area, estate agents from the local area follow it, and message me. People that I don't know and said, I'm an estate agent in the local area. If I've got something like this that comes up, can I let you know? I said, yeah, absolutely. This is what I'm looking for. I'm ready to go on another one. Please let me know. So social media is a great tool when it's used in the right way.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, again, credit to you. Put yourself out there, get uncomfortable, make that social media post.
Absolutely.
Feel awkward about posting it. Everyone's going to see you, but you did it anyway, and now people are messaging. So
yeah, fantastic.
Good.
Excited for the future.
Yeah, it should be. So this is the exciting part, which is the numbers. That's why people watch till the end of these videos. They want to learn, but they want to get the numbers as well.
Absolutely.
I'm going to actually ask you something off the cuff, and that is, what do you think this would have been listed at if it had hit the market in this condition?
It was going to be listed for 190.
190.
Yeah.
And you secured it for and bought it for
175.
175, and that was off of that agent relationship, which is really good. And then you're spending roughly how much?
It's going to be between 40 and 50k on the refurb, around 45k, and then there's obviously VAT costs as well.
Yep, sadly, yeah. And then fees-wise, you're looking at?
Yeah, so with stamp duty, fees, solicitors' fees, around 10k.
Yep. So about £10,000, and then your end value, as you mentioned earlier, was around 250.
250. That's using comparables, things that have sold recently, and one just up the road that has also sold for a similar value.
Yeah, brilliant. So not only will it be a deal in which you'd get more money out than if you had, or certainly you leave less money in than if you would have gone and bought one off the shelf, but also you get the experience, and you're left with a house where, well, you should have solved all its problems. 5 to 10 years at least, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the key things for me as well is that learning the process, going through the full refurb again. Because like you say, you'll quickly run out of capital and not be able to continue if you just keep buying turnkeys. Nothing wrong with turnkeys, but with the plans and goals I have, the strategy that I'm sort of going to follow, need to do this route to make the most from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't mind talking about the rent, what do you think it will rent for here? Because demand's good down here.
These properties in Portsmouth will rent like that, they go like hotcakes. So more central Portsmouth, between 1,200–1,300 per calendar month. But we are literally just 10 minutes walk, 5–10 minutes walk from Southsea, so the rent's better. So between 1,400–1,500. And I feel like if it was listed at 1,500, it would still go like that.
Amazing, especially as it will be a finished product. You can kind of push that.
Absolutely.
It'll
be the first people in will be the first people to have lived here.
Yeah, perfect. So then if we obviously don't have to go through all the individual costs, but you've got managing agent, insurance, obviously your monthly interest payment once you've done your refinance. After all of that, roughly speaking, what's your profit margin on that?
So it'd be 500 profit per month. I actually manage them all myself.
I did?
Yeah, I do manage them. I did have an agent, because I'm still at that early stages where it's enough and it's manageable.
Yes, yeah.
But I did have an agent manage the flat, and you're obviously paying them sort of 10%. And they didn't do anything. They went around and viewed it and said, yeah, all is still fine, So, and ultimately, funny enough, when there was a problem, they'd come to me and ask for the trades anyway. So I thought, what am I paying these people for?
It's a constant predicament that people have in this industry. There are some true outliers in terms of like really good letting agents, and if you hold on to them, worth the money. But there are some where you're like, why am I paying this?
Of course, when it comes to finding the tenants, it'll be a letting agent, so all the checks are done, all the guarantees, etc., the credibility, things like that. But actually managing at this stage, it's still doable. And I think when you've got the property refurb previously, it's fresh, everything's new. There hasn't been problems, and that was 8 months ago. It was refurbed. This will all be fresh and new as well, so there shouldn't be any problems.
No, and the final thing, just to recap on that, I think £500 profit is a really good place to be, particularly when you're building a portfolio. To have that per property is really valuable. So yes, I know you said to me that maybe I'm leaving a bit more money in this one than some people will. But again, it comes down to the area. It comes down to the fact that the amount you're leaving in, some people would leave in over 2 properties, and then they'd maybe make the same monthly profit.
Yeah.
So you just have to be really aware of your goals, what you want to achieve in terms of profit, ROI.
And I think it's important, like you say, when you look at different geographical areas around the UK, yes, this is a higher purchase price for the condition it was in, and you could buy maybe 2 in other locations, but then the rent, it's all swings and roundabouts. The rental yield will be lower, so you've got to have 2 to make the same as what you would profit on something like this. But you've also got 2 times as many potential problems if you have multiple, and 2 times as many fees and things like that. So swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, twice the roofs, the kitchens.
Exactly.
Exactly. So no, I want to say thank you very much for letting us come around.
You are more than welcome.
And I can't wait to show the finished products in, probably that 10 to 12 weeks time.
Exactly. Yeah, look forward to it.
Thank you again, Adam.
Pleasure.
For some people, leaving in £40,000 after refinance would seem like a lot of money. But it's important to remember that many expensive areas will require more capital and more money left in after refinance, which is the downside. But the upside is that they will attract a better tenant profile. They will achieve a higher rent and they will make more monthly profit. In my eyes, when you get started, your first few deals should be about learning the process, gaining experience, and adding good stock to your portfolio. Thanks again to Adam for showcasing his house. If you'd like to join our community, I will leave a link in the description. Thanks for watching and see you next week.